Welcome to College Smart Radio, helping you bring into focus the true cost of college and how to tackle the runaway cost of financing a college education. College Smart Radio is hosted by Beatrice Schultz, a certified financial planner and founder of Westface College Planning. Now, here's your host for College Smart Radio, Beatrice Schultz.
Welcome to College Smart Radio. Financial aid season is upon us, and in addition to filling out the free application for federal student aid, or the FAFSA, we also have to file the College Scholarship Service, or CSS Profile, for many students. Used by more than 350 private institutions throughout the U.S., the CSS Profile is much more extensive than the FAFSA and can qualify students for enormous non-federal financial aid packages funded by their colleges. On today's College Smart Radio program, we're going to review everything you need to know about the CSS Profile. Hi, I'm Beatrice Schultz. Welcome to our weekly show, College Smart Radio, where we help you tackle the runaway costs of a college education. Our show is about bringing up-to-date and practical advice to parents who are dealing with the cost of a college education for their kids. College is expensive and getting more so each year. With a private school costing up to $60,000, a UC costing close to $35,000, and a California State University running $25,000 per year, parents need more help than ever. We bring you that help by sharing ways to pay less, tapping into financial aid, and prioritizing your source of funds to make sure you get through the most expensive years of your life. Based on my own education and experience, I share my insights with you week in and week out. I hold a Bachelor of Science degree in Chemical Engineering and a Master's degree in International Business. I'm a certified financial planner and the owner of the San Carlos-based college planning business, Westface College Planning. We host workshops on college planning, and we consult with parents on a daily basis. In addition to my insights, I bring in experts in many areas of the college process. From counselors, financial aid officers, college administrators, financial professionals, parents, and even students, you'll learn firsthand the ins and outs of how to pay for college and survive financially. In addition to our show, you can find lots of powerful information at our collegesmartradio.com and westfacecollegeplanning.com websites. We have many articles that I've authored with up-to-date information on navigating the waters of paying for the runaway cost of college. We have a monthly e-newsletter full of content about college planning. We also have posted a glossary of key terms used in the world of college planning, terms like total cost of attendance, FAFSA, CSS Profile, student assets, and so forth. And we have a link to our free community parent workshops that we host to teach parents about how to pay for college and how the financial aid system really works. Let's get into today's show. A few weeks ago, we talked about the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid. The FAFSA financial aid application is unquestionably the most important financial aid form you'll ever fill out. But it's not the only one. Many schools also use the CSS Profile financial aid form, a financial aid profile produced by the College Board. On today's College Smart Radio program, we're going to review everything you need to know about the CSS Profile. We're going to talk about what it is, what are the major differences between the FAFSA and the CSS Profile, which colleges require the CSS Profile, why they use it, and the importance of deadlines. And also, we're going to talk about how you can prepare for the CSS Profile. First, what is the CSS Profile? Well, the CSS Financial Aid Profile, also known as the Profile or the College Scholarship Service Profile, is an application distributed by the College Board in the U.S., allowing college students to apply for financial aid. It's primarily designed to give certain select private member institutions of the College Board a closer look at the finances of a student and family. It's much more detailed than the FAFSA. There are over 350 colleges that use Profile as part of their financial aid process for some or all of their financial aid applications. So you're going to want to check every college you're considering to find out if they do require it. The CSS Profile is going to ask questions about the financial status of the student and the student's parents. The information gives the CSS Profile or entered into the profile is sent to the universities or colleges that the student specifically specifies. Really, the CSS Profile information is used by colleges to determine what non-federal financial aid, such as institutional scholarships, grants, and loans, are available for the student. It's a much more detailed questionnaire than the FAFSA, and it focuses on more information about specific programs at the schools that you're going to be applying to. So what's the big difference between the FAFSA and the CSS Profile? You will need to submit both. Every college wants a FAFSA, and if colleges request a CSS Profile, you're going to submit both independently. But the first big difference is the FAFSA is free. The CSS Profile is not. There's a cost of filing of $24 for the first college, which includes a registration fee and an $18 processing fee, and you'll pay $18 for each additional college. It's not a big deal, but there's a lot of little bills that show up on this college application process, and unfortunately, here's another one. There are available fee waivers, so if you think your family may qualify for a fee waiver, then you may be able to get a fee waiver and not have to pay for your application for the CSS Profile. As we know, in comparison, the FAFSA is free to file. How about deadlines? The FAFSA is available on January 1st or 2nd, depending on what day of the week the first business day of the new year is. The CSS Profile is available earlier than that. Some CSS Profile applications for this year have already been submitted starting November 15th. Colleges that request early decision or early acceptance you've already passed some deadlines for the CSS Profile. But most regular admission deadlines for the CSS Profile are going to be February 1st or later. So I always recommend submit the FAFSA and the CSS Profile that first week in January, and you know you're going to meet the deadlines for every college you're considering. But double check your deadlines. What else is different? Well, both financial aid applications use different needs analysis formulas. The federal methodology that the FAFSA uses is called the FM formula, and I might use that acronym, and the CSS Profile used the IM or institutional methodology. Generally speaking, both methodologies are fundamentally the same, or both in the sense that they use the primary drivers, which are the 7 factors that I discussed on the FAFSA program a few weeks ago. If you missed that show, you're going to want to know that the 7 factors that are important for knowing about applying for financial aid are parent income, parent and student assets, family size, the number of children in college, and the age of the oldest parents. I recommend you listen to the podcast from my FAFSA show, which you can find under collegesmartradio.com under the Archives tab. The key difference between the two formulas, a really big one, is the IM or profile formula takes into account home equity of your primary home. The FAFSA does not. This can be a big deal for Bay Area families who tend to own more expensive homes or have a lot of their assets in the equity of their home. The other thing is the IM formula, the profile formula, assumes a minimum level of contribution from the student. The FAFSA doesn't assume any contribution from the student. The IM is tied to a consumer price index, whereas the FAFSA is tied to a government standard of the low standard of living. So in some cases, the IM assumes that you would need more money to live on than the FAFSA formula. The big thing is the profile contains questions specific to the schools you're applying to. Well, the FAFSA is a standardized financial aid application. It's designed to be exactly the same for everyone, and it is the exact same formula. It qualifies you specifically for federal aid based on the formula. The profile allows financial aid counselors to take special circumstances into greater consideration. This is a big deal because the CSS Profile does allow you to explain your family's special financial circumstances, which can influence the award that may be offered. So which colleges require the CSS Profile and why do they use it? Well, why would a school choose to add on the CSS Profile in addition to the FAFSA? Primarily because it asks the school to ask more tailored, customized questions about the student's financial aid situation that the FAFSA simply can't because it's a standardized form. Also, colleges that do have early acceptance programs, either early decision or early action, where the student receives the admission decision before the new year, they use the profile so that they can make preliminary financial aid decisions before that FAFSA is available on January 1st. Oftentimes then after the FAFSA is available, they'll still have those students submit the FAFSA, but after they've already been admitted into the college. For example, Harvard, Stanford, NYU, many other prestigious schools require the CSS Profile. Princeton University is a notable exception because it does not require a CSS profile, but instead uses its own free financial aid application form. Colleges can do what they want and ask what information they want. But basically, the CSS profile of the College Board makes it easier for colleges to be able to fit into asking those questions and not have to manage their own application process. Remember, many of the colleges that use the profile have costs of attendance of $50,000 to $60,000 a year. Remember, that includes cost of attendance. It does include tuition, room and board, books, fees, and miscellaneous expenses, but $50,000 to $60,000 a year. As you can imagine, families with incomes of $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year may qualify for financial aid from these institutions, especially if they have more than one student attending college at the same time. It's a big deal. So who needs to file the CSS profile? Well, not all colleges are going to require them, so you want to check to make sure that if yours is on the list. Once you determine that yours is on the list, then you need to register it at thecollegeboard.org. I have that exact link on my website, collegesmartradio.com. Once you register, you start to fill in the application. But the first questions they're going to ask you are about yourself, and they're also going to ask you some questions about the colleges, which colleges are on your list. Then you actually have your own personalized CSS profile that's created. It includes every question that every college has been asking about they want to know the answers to. So remember, there may be supplemental variety of different questions that you don't even know which college is asking. If, for example, you did apply to Harvard, Yale, Stanford, Middlebury, you wouldn't know which college had asked that specific question about, for example, your IRA account, so you don't know how it's going to be taken into account. But you're going to want to answer all the questions, and those answers are going to be submitted to the colleges. Then you're going to get a report back that lets you know exactly what they think you can afford to pay for college, and each college is going to do that independently. I'm going to take a quick break here. You're with me on College Smart Radio, talking about the CSS profile, a supplemental application for financial aid needed by some private colleges. We all know that college is expensive and will most likely be some of the most costly years for a family. Understanding how to navigate the college costs to save everywhere you can is a smart thing to know. To help families beyond this radio show, I host community workshops around the Bay Area several times a month that explain the costs of various colleges, how the financial aid system works, and things to consider to prepare yourself for this tremendous expense. You can find my workshop schedule at collegesmartradio.com. I'll be right back on College Smart Radio.
For more information on today's topic, visit collegesmartradio.com or call area code 650-587-1559. College Smart Radio continues in moments on AM 1220 KDOW. Contact Beatrice Schultz at collegesmartradio.com or call area code 650-587-1559. Now, back to College Smart Radio with your host Beatrice Schultz on AM 1220 KDOW.
Welcome back to College Smart Radio, where we help you tackle the runaway costs of college. I'm Beatrice Schultz. Our topic for today's show is the CSS profile. I was just talking about the process to complete the CSS profile. You're going to want to register at collegeboard.org. Go through the questions of which colleges you're applying to, and then they'll create for you a customized application of questions. You're going to want to have tax records and financial documents handy, and here's what you should expect. You're going to have the application questions about income, assets, and expenses. Income questions, they're going to ask you about your 2011 income, your 2012 income, your 2013 income, and they're going to ask you what you expect your 2013 income to be. They're also going to ask you, they might ask you some additional questions about your business, if you own one, even if it's a business that you have less than 100 employees where they wouldn't have asked a question on the FAFSA, they can ask you that question. There also may be a non-custodial form, which would need to be completed by the parent that the child doesn't live with. So if you have divorced or separated parents, there may be a non-custodial form for the non-custodial parent that needs to be filled in. Some colleges request this. Remember, on the FAFSA, the non-custodial parent never has to fill in anything. There's also some online help, and there's an FAQ section which should help, and there is live customer service, and I've called that number. They are available to help.